Hello and welcome, dear listener. Today, we're diving into a book that's not just about productivity, but about focus in an age of noise and how mastering it could be the most valuable skill of the 21st century. In a world where distraction is only a swipe away, Deep Work by Cal Newport offers a bold promise. If you can learn to focus deeply, undistractedly, even for just a few hours a day, you can create work that is not only faster, but far more meaningful, rare, and powerful. If you find this summary helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to BookSnap, and comment below the title of the book you'd like us to summarize next. We'll make it happen soon. Now, let's begin. The deep versus the shallow. Cal Newport opens Deep Work by making a critical distinction between two kinds of work. Shallow work, the kind of work that keeps you busy, emails, meetings, social media, responding to messages. It feels productive, but it's easily replicable and rarely leaves a lasting impact. Deep work, professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limits. Deep work is hard, it's rare, but it's also incredibly valuable. In other words, shallow work is like treading water, deep work is like swimming to shore. In a world driven by constant connectivity, most people live in the shallows, reactive, scattered, and overwhelmed. But those who can go deep, they win, they create, they thrive. Why deep work matters more than ever. Newport makes a provocative claim early in the book. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare and increasingly valuable in our economy. Those who cultivate this skill will thrive. Those who don't will struggle. Why? Because we live in what he calls a distraction economy. Our phones, inboxes, and feeds demand constant attention. Multitasking is glorified. Context switching is normalized. But neurologically, our brains are not built for that. Deep work, in contrast, allows you to learn difficult things quickly, solve complex problems, create work that's original and high impact, stand out in an age of automation and AI. Newport points out that in nearly every industry, from software development to writing, strategy, research, and beyond, the ability to focus is a superpower. The more rare and valuable your work is, the more you benefit from going deep. The deep work hypothesis. At the heart of the book is a bold and compelling idea. The deep work hypothesis. The deep work state is not only productive, it is meaningful. When you enter that state, when hours pass without you noticing, when your mind is immersed, when the challenge matches your skills, you feel engaged. You feel alive. This isn't just productivity, it's purpose. In a world addicted to distraction, deep work gives us back something we didn't even know we lost, our ability to connect deeply with our own minds. The science of focus. Cal Newport doesn't rely on just personal philosophy. He backs up his ideas with powerful research. Our brains operate best when fully focused. Neuroscientists call this myelination, the process by which neurons that fire together wire together. The more you repeat a deep thinking pattern, the more efficient your brain becomes at executing that pattern. In contrast, when we multitask, our attention residue, the leftover mental energy from the previous task, drags into the next thing we try to do. So even if you're switching between email and writing every 5 minutes, you're not truly present in either. You're stuck in cognitive limbo, never fully here, never fully there. Deep work is not just effective because of what it produces. It's effective because of how it trains your mind. Why most people avoid deep work. But if deep work is so valuable, why don't we do more of it? The answer, according to Newport, is this. Deep work is uncomfortable. It's cognitively demanding. It requires solitude, patience, and deliberate practice. It doesn't give the quick dopamine hit of checking notifications or clearing your inbox. Most of us have trained our minds for distraction, not depth. And because deep work often looks like doing nothing from the outside, staring at a blank screen, thinking deeply, It's undervalued in corporate culture too. But the truth is, the greatest leaps in art, business, science, and creativity never came from checking email faster. They came from someone, somewhere, thinking deeply and uninterruptedly for long periods of time. What you're really trading. When you give up focus. Newport issues a warning. If you don't actively train your ability to go deep, you will lose it. This isn't a passive risk. It's a real one. Every time you interrupt yourself to check your phone mid-task, every time you allow shallow work to dominate your day, you're weakening the muscle of depth. And the tragedy? You're not just giving up productivity. You're giving up your best thinking, your best creations, your most original work, because those things don't live on the surface. They live deep. This is just the beginning. In the next section, we'll explore the rules and rituals of deep work, how to cultivate it, protect it, and use it to elevate not just your career, but your entire life. Welcome back. We've seen why deep work is the hidden superpower of the modern world. Rare, valuable, and meaningful. Now, let's get into the how. How do we actually do it? How do we fight back against the constant stream of noise and distraction? In Part 2, we'll explore the core strategies Cal Newport offers, rules and rituals that help us build deep work into our days and into our lives. Rule number 1. Work deeply. Sounds obvious, right? But here's the thing. Most of us don't know how to work deeply. We sit down, we open our laptops, and 10 minutes later, we're checking messages, scanning headlines, maybe even getting up for a snack we weren't hungry for. Deep work requires structure, ritual, deliberate intention. Newport gives us 4 powerful ways to design a deep work routine, like choosing the right mode of depth for your lifestyle. 1. Monastic. This is for the hardcore, people who remove themselves almost entirely from shallow distractions. Think of authors who retreat into cabins, software developers who turn off email for days. Not for everyone, but incredibly effective. 2. Bimodal. You split your time, perhaps a few days of the week fully immersed in deep work, and the rest for meetings, email, and admin. It works best if you have control over your schedule. 3. Rhythmic. The most accessible method, set aside the same block of time every day. Maybe it's 7 to 9 a.m., or your first hour after lunch. The point is rhythm, habit, predictability. 4. Journalistic. For the highly trained, this method lets you switch into deep work anytime, anywhere. Journalists have to do this, writing intensely between interruptions. It's powerful, but only if you've mastered focus. No matter the style, the key is this. Make deep work non-negotiable. Put it on the calendar. Treat it like a meeting with your future self, because that's exactly what it is. The ritual of depth. One of the most overlooked ingredients of deep work is ritual. Great minds, from Darwin to Maya Angelou, from Einstein to Toni Morrison, all had rituals around their work. Why? Because ritual removes decision fatigue. It says to your brain, this is what we do now. Newport encourages us to define where you'll work deeply, your desk, a library, a cafe, for how long, start and end time, how you'll support your focus, no phone, a certain drink, a clean workspace, how you'll measure success, word count, problem solved, hours logged. The more consistent your ritual, the easier it becomes to enter the flow state, where time dissolves and your mind locks into full power. Willpower is a finite resource. Here's an insight most people ignore. You don't drift into deep work. You must drive yourself there. We live in an environment engineered for shallow thinking, and willpower alone won't save you. Notifications, emails, open tabs, Slack messages, they're all trying to hijack your mind. So Newport says, don't rely on willpower, build fences. Use tools like internet blockers, phone in another room, deep work signs on your office door, a preset playlist that signals it's time to focus. Think of it like this. You wouldn't plant a fragile seedling in an open field during a storm. You'd build a greenhouse. Your mind needs the same care. Rule number 2. Embrace boredom. This one might surprise you, but if you constantly reach for your phone at the slightest hint of boredom, if you always fill silence with scrolling, you're training your brain to fear stillness, to resist depth. To succeed with deep work, Newport says, you must rewire your brain to be comfortable resisting distraction. How? By embracing boredom. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Go on a walk without your phone. Wait in line without pulling out a screen. It's uncomfortable at first, but incredibly powerful. You're rebuilding the muscle of attention. You're reintroducing your brain to its natural state, focused, calm, present, because if you can't focus when things are boring, you won't be able to focus when things really matter. Rule number 3. Quit social media or use it intentionally. Here's where Newport gets controversial, but honest. He argues that most people overestimate the benefits of social media and underestimate the costs. Social media isn't evil, but it is engineered to fragment your attention, to deliver fast rewards, to keep you hooked. So Newport suggests a radical approach. Don't just ask, is this tool useful? Ask, is it the most useful way to achieve my goals? That's a higher standard, and for many people it means walking away, at least for a while. He introduces the concept of a digital declutter. Step away from optional tech for 30 days. Reintroduce only what truly serves your values. Replace shallow scrolling with high-quality analog activities. Again, this isn't about moralizing, it's about reclaiming your time and your mind. Because every time you check your phone out of boredom, you reinforce a habit. Avoid discomfort, escape the moment. Deep work requires the opposite. Welcome back. We've learned that deep work is a skill, a discipline, not something you stumble into. It requires structure, ritual, and the courage to be bored. Now we move into the final chapters of Deep Work, where Cal Newport introduces 2 profound and often overlooked ideas: the importance of rest, and how to build a life that protects depth long term. Let's begin with a surprising truth. Rule number 4. Drain the shallows. It might sound aggressive, but Newport's advice here is actually liberating. The key to producing at your peak level is to work for extended periods with full concentration, and to rest deeply the rest of the time. Translation? You don't need to work more hours. You need to eliminate the low-value, shallow work that clogs your day. Let's face it. How much time do you spend responding to emails that don't matter? Sitting in meetings that go nowhere? Doing tasks that keep you looking busy but don't move the needle? Newport challenges us to be ruthless with our time, not to be cold or inflexible, but to protect our deepest contributions. Here's how. 1. Schedule every minute of your day. Yes, every minute. This doesn't mean you need to plan perfectly or live rigidly. The goal is awareness. Create a time-blocked schedule. Block out hours for deep work. Allocate time for meetings, shallow tasks, breaks, even leisure. Adjust as needed. The point is to see where your time goes. Most people underestimate how much time they lose to switching tasks, checking email, or just 5 minutes of social media. When you schedule with intention, you begin to own your day, instead of reacting to it. 2. Say no a lot more. This is one of Newport's boldest points. If you want to do meaningful work, you must protect your attention from shallow commitments. That means saying no to meetings without clear agendas, being slow to respond to emails that don't require your energy, politely declining tasks that pull you away from your highest value work. He even suggests creating email autoresponders that let people know your response may be delayed, or that you're only reachable at specific times. Because every yes to something shallow is a no to something deep. And every moment of deep focus you protect, that's a moment closer to your best work. 3. Set hard limits on work time. Here's where Newport takes a stand few productivity books do. End your workday at a fixed time. no exceptions. Whether it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m., or earlier, you need a shutdown ritual. A mental and emotional signal to your brain. Work is done for today. Why? Because your brain needs rest to refuel for tomorrow's deep work. And shallow work will expand to fill any available time if you don't draw a line. When you end your day with intention, you stop carrying anxiety into your evenings. You become more present with loved ones. And paradoxically, you start doing better work because your mind is fully recovered. Downtime aids depth. One of the most revolutionary parts of deep work is this. The work that evening downtime replaces is usually not that important. Newport shows us that the brain, especially the unconscious mind, continues processing complex problems after we step away. That's why so many breakthroughs come during a walk, a shower, a quiet drive, a weekend away from the laptop. Downtime enhances creativity. It strengthens memory consolidation, and it prevents burnout. So if you feel guilty for resting, remember, rest is not a reward for deep work. It's part of it. The craftsman mindset. As we approach the book's conclusion, Newport introduces a deeper idea, almost philosophical. You don't do deep work just to produce more. You do it to live with purpose. In a world full of distraction, performing deep work is a form of craftsmanship. It says, I care about the quality of what I create. I care about the way I use my mind. Whether you're writing, coding, designing, teaching, or building, the act of focusing deeply becomes a form of self-respect. It's not about fame or money. It's about integrity. It's about choosing depth over shallowness, in work and in life. Building a life of depth. Cal Newport leaves us with one final challenge. Don't just add deep work to your routine. Build a life that supports it. This might mean redesigning your schedule, having difficult conversations about availability, letting go of some expectations or distractions, embracing silence, solitude, and boredom more intentionally. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because when you live with depth, you think more clearly, you create more meaningfully, and you connect more deeply to your work, to others, and to yourself. Final thoughts. Deep work is more than a productivity strategy. It's a quiet rebellion. In a world that celebrates the fast, the loud, and the shallow, it invites us back to something slower, something more intentional, something deeper. So, if you're tired of the noise, start here. Turn off the distractions, block out the time, and let your best mind do its best work. Because the life you want to build, it's waiting for you, beneath the surface. Thank you, truly, for listening to the full summary of Deep Work. We hope this inspired you to reclaim your focus and reshape your days with more clarity and purpose. If there's another book you'd like us to summarize, drop the title in the comments below. We read every one, and we're excited to bring your next request to life. Thanks for watching BookSnap. We'll see you in the next story.